he could speak fluent Spanish. However, before the head injury, the only language he could speak fluently was English, which he seemed to have forgotten, according to WSB TV.
As a guy out in the working world after having a child out of wedlock, I was embraced because I could speak fluently, and I was a fairly intelligent young man who came from a Catholic school.
Learn from
and with
a language
learner.
Hello guys, in episode 40 here on my Fluent podcast, it's all about the question, what does it mean to be fluent in a language? My name is Daniel Goodson and I am an English learner. Although I am not a native English speaker, I hope you can learn something from me. And maybe I can learn something from you as well. That would be wonderful, I think. So let's come back to today's topic. What does it mean to be fluent in a language? So as you have realized, even my podcast name has the word fluent in it. My Fluent podcast. I know I did not pick the word wisely because in a way it implies that it's my Fluent podcast. It's an ego thing, but it shouldn't be at all like that. It shouldn't be a monologue. It should be rather a dialogue. And I like to get in touch with different language enthusiasts from all over the world. So the topic is kind of controversial because there is no consensus in what does it mean to be fluent. Nevertheless, I wanna try to explain to you what does it mean, what it means. Well, at least what it means for me. So, at first I wanna explain the name of the podcast, which is my Fluent podcast. I wanted to express the idea to become fluent in a language or in English. I'm learning different languages, but my main goal is to improve my English. I also learn French and Spanish and someday Italian. And I am, by the way, a German speaker, a Swiss German speaker to be more precise. So first off, let's have a quick look at two online dictionaries. The first one is the Merriam-Webster. So according to Merriam-Webster, a definition can be capable of using a language easily and accurately, like in fluent in Spanish, a fluent writer, fluent performance, spoke in fluent English. According to the website, first known use is on 1585. Let's head over to the second online dictionary called oxforddictionaries.com. Well, the definition is able to express oneself easily and articulately. Well, yeah, that's a great definition. Hopefully I will become a fluent speaker one day. So I think the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, abbreviated in English as CEFR or CEF, is a guideline used to describe achievements of learners of foreign languages across Europe, and it is increasingly applied in other countries as well. So it's a common reference of levels. It gives you an indication of what level you are in currently. For instance, I took the first certificate a few years ago, and that means that you are at B2, so it's about half the way through. It begins with the level A1 for basic users and finally ends up in C2, and this is really the point where you master the language, so you are a proficient user. And there is a description in every level. So for instance, let's have a look if they are mentioning the word fluency. And well, at least according to Wikipedia, at the level B2, there is written can interact with a degree of fluency and spontaneity that makes regular interaction with native speakers quite possible without strain for either party. Yeah, that's straight to the point, I guess. I like that. Without strain for either party. So whether it's me feeling comfortable or the other, both are important. And these were the first mentioning. And then at C1, which means proficient users, effective operational proficiency or advanced, can express ideas fluently and spontaneously without much obvious searching for expressions. So I'm lucky I'm producing a podcast in which I can just pause and look up a word so you don't pick up my that I am not fluent. And then finally at C2, at the C2 level, can express themselves spontaneously, very fluently and precisely, differentiating finer shades of meaning even in the most complex situations. In other words, you have to be a superhero. I mean, I don't even can make it in my own tongue, in my mother tongue, while I'm not a chatterbox. I'm not as fluent as I wanted to be. That's why I shouldn't be too hard on myself when it comes to speaking in English, I think. I shouldn't beat myself up. So, in the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, it plays a quite huge role. It is crucial. The word fluently, and you may have heard about obviously the website called Fluent in 3 months with Benny the Irish polyglot. Well, it's a successful website, and according to the website, more than 300,000 language users have joined the service. So in my view, it's a perfect marketing procedure to call it Fluent in 3 months, because it will be rather difficult to achieve the goal to become fluent in 3 months. Well, taking into account what was written on the European framework on C2, then it's not possible to achieve that. Okay, anyways, you shouldn't set fluency targets because it is quite difficult to measure, and as I mentioned, it is controversial. It's not easy to say what does fluency mean. Instead, be natural. Let things happen naturally. So as you read more, then you will be more experienced. You will pick up words easily, and you will become an experienced speaker. And of course, you have to read and read again. As you read more, your confidence grows and you will be experienced in a lot of different subjects. And as a consequence, you will become a fluent reader. At the same time, write a lot. The more you write, the easier it will become. You will become a fluent writer. And at the same time, your arsenal will grow, and as you are speaking, you will have loads of different phrasal verbs and collocation words at your disposal, and it will flow easily. This was just a little side note here. And by the way, there is a podcast called Actual Fluency by Chris Broholm, whom I interviewed on a previous episode. So let me check quickly which episode it was. Well, let me see. It was... Oh, it's incredible how quick the time flies. It was on episode 16, interview with Chris Broholm, podcaster and polyglot. So you can go to myfluentpodcast.com and head over to episode 16. It was an interview-related podcast and it was quite interesting. And there is another podcast I can recommend. It is called I Will Teach You a Language by Ollie Richards. And he also came up with the question, what does it mean fluent, to become fluent or to be a fluent speaker? So here again, let me check which episode it was. So there was this episode where Isabel asked him, at what point do you consider yourself to be fluent in another language? And so you can go directly to I Will Teach You a Language, or it was episode 18, or you can head over to myfluentpodcast.com to my show notes where I will put a link as well. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed as I could enjoy it, and I hope you will tune in again. I'm your host, Daniel Goodson. Have a good one.
Now, Roma Wines present Suspense. Tonight, Actor's Blood, written and told to us by Ben Hecht and starring Frederick March. Suspense is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness in entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant as Roma Wines bring you Suspense.